Welcome to Creators on the Crest Frequency Friday. I'm Stephanie, and this is where we rise with the tide and align with the truth. So make yourself comfortable. Just grab your tea, grab your water today, grab whatever you need to hydrate. We are going to be talking water. I've got my ACV, my apple cider vinegar water here with a little lemon and honey. Girl Gone, hello, good day to you. Hello, hello, so nice to see you. We're gonna let this energy kind of build here while it sends out the notification, making sure I have sound. Yes, you can hear me. You can hear me. Good. Okay, wonderful. Welcome, welcome everyone. We're just gonna get settled in. I'm actually standing up today. I have a desk that lifts and lowers, and so decided to go ahead and at least do some of the live standing just to give my legs a little more flexibility. Let me know how you're doing in the chat. What is one of the emotions you might be going through right now? What energies are you working with? Let me know. Let me know in the chat space what that looks like for you. Girl Gone says, drinking coffee, need to wake up. I have my coffee too. I've got this cute little wolf out mug here. My daughter likes Enid from the Wednesday series, so as she always reminds me, that's her mug, but she lets me borrow it. All right, you did get the notification. Yeah, I saw it come through as well. Wonderful, wonderful. Be sure to put a thumbs up here on this live so we can get it rolling here out to those creators that it's meant to attract. Good day. Weird, Girl Gone had a weird dream and not sure how to feel about it yet. A little confused. Okay. You're right into these energies of what I'm going to speak about today with that. So if you've had some potent dreams, especially you described not sure how to feel about it yet, I think over the next month and a half, you'll be getting some clarity on that. Tressa, dealing with control issues, letting go of controlling the outcome on things. Yes, that would definitely free up a lot of energy, but it's also difficult to do, isn't it? Sometimes it's very difficult. We get very attached to things, even subconsciously, that we don't even mean to get attached to, right? We get attached to those things and we want things to go a certain way in a certain time frame. Letting go of that. Letting go of the story, the creative story that we've told in our head. Some of us are very creative storytellers, right? And how do we create that story and release it? Not hold on to it, but release it to our spirit team and to the universe. How do we do that? That's tricky stuff. Kimberly is feeling nostalgic today with a hint of sadness. So there's another emotional recognition there, and that is good. We're going to move through those energies. Claire Wilder, hello, hello, welcome to Creators on the Crest. We'd love to have you join us for today's Frequency Friday Live. We're going to be doing some collective readings today. We're going to go into the Water Grand Trine energy that came in with this most recent new moon that we had. So we've got a Water Grand Trine going on astrologically, and we're going to pull tarot cards to learn more and more about the energies and how we can utilize those to help us on our journey. Okay, so that's what we're going to be up to today. I hope you stick around. I will have a replay up with timestamps for anyone who might be working and lurking or anything like that, but hopefully you're in a place where you can relax and maybe enjoy some of the conversation here. Girl Gone says, being in my element, but I think my energy is being tested. Interesting, interesting. So I'm curious if you would tell me, when you say my energy is being tested, is that just a feeling you're getting? Is it a vibrational like frequency? Are you running into people that are testing you? How is that presenting itself? Very interested. Mashak Wallaby, hello. Welcome, welcome. I hope I said your name correctly. Welcome to Creators on the Crest. Okay, so I just wanted to remind everyone, if you're someone who's looking for a personal reading, so you would like a free mini tarot reading, I do those here on the channel, and they are every other Sunday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Central. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that. Today's messages are going to be more of in the collective energies, the energies of those of you that are showing up, of your greater being is what I'm tuning into. And so the Q&As, they are coming up. The next one is on November 2nd. So set your reminder on your calendar for that. And then November 16th, there will be a break. There will be no Q&A on the 30th of November for the holiday. And then we will resume on December 14th. And then there will be no Q&A on the 28th. So there's 3 more live Q&As. You want to come in as close to the 7 o'clock hour as you can, because I fill up really quick and I don't usually get to everyone. So if you've got that burning question and you would like a free mini reading, you would like to get used to my style, you definitely want to come to that and drop your question in the chat. If you don't have a specific question, a lot of people will allow the highest and best message to come through for them. So you could just ask for your highest and best message or something you've been speaking with your spirit team about. So definitely check those out. And in case you all didn't notice, I started a new series. Every Tuesday on the channel, a video will be released called Tarot and Tea. And we're going to get into all kinds of different things with that video series, but it is including a reading. It's based on a theme. So I do kind of my intuitive channeled messages, and then we get into oracle and tarot reading, okay? And I'm going to be using different spreads and kind of exploring the cards in different ways. It's very much a learning experience as well as it is a reading, right? And so I hope you can join me for that. But also packaged into Tarot and Tea is the psychic weather forecast. So I am going to be reading the energies of the upcoming week every Tuesday as we cycle around and giving you the psychic weather, which is a really interesting way to kind of be aware and bring awareness to some of the energies that are going on around us. Okay, so that's a really exciting thing. And there is one Tarot and Tea that has launched this past week. The timestamps are on it for your convenience. So be sure to go check it out. I hope you listen to the whole thing because it all kind of builds and connects together. But also you can skip to the parts you like. You can go back and listen to the parts you like. So I'm really excited for that. Some of you might be used to me doing the sign readings, and I'm still going to be doing those. Those are going to pop up, and I've got something special planned for the signs. But I really had to take time. Sometimes when you're a content creator, you start to realize where you're overextending yourself. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm 50, the big 50. And I want to work smarter, not harder. And I want to be able to bring the best of who I am energetically for this phase in my life to my clients, to my subscribers, to my audience, okay? And so I had to kind of really get honest with myself. I'm not one of those creators, okay, that can just generate 12 sign readings, boom, 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 boom. And there are some out there and they're fantastic at what they do, and they're putting out like 30 plus readings a week, and that's great, but that's just not my energy. So I had to get real. I had to get honest with myself. I prefer to go a little bit deeper. I get bored with that same kind of repetition personally, for me, I do. So if I'm bored with it, it's not going to come through in the highest and best way for y'all. So this Tarot and Tea, it's totally me, okay? And it is a way that I can explore lots of different themes, including themes that you all might tell me and give me feedback on. And there have been multiple times where you guys have come up with lots of good ideas, and I put them down and I let them percolate and culminate in my mind and in my energy. And I'm like, yeah, and I let that build. And I find the frequency. It'll show up on a Frequency Friday, or it'll show up in a Tarot and Tea. So I welcome your feedback via comments, via ideas. You can connect with me on social media platforms as well: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at Creators on the Crest. Here on YouTube, I'm at Creators on the Crest 1111, because we like those magic numbers, okay? All right, let me read some of your comments here. Be sure to drop how you're feeling in the chat if you haven't already. I'm really interested because we're going to be going into watery energies, emotional energies today, so I'd like to hear how you're feeling. Girl Gone clarified, I feel balanced by my surroundings, like Gaia, right? So the natural energies and your connection to Earth, good. But the people are giving off mixed positive and negative energies. Yes, and isn't that isn't that kind of the way we have to navigate here, is because we have people like y'all who have shown up here, and you're aware and you're conscious and you're interested in growing and evolving and learning new things, and you're learning about yourself, you're going deeper into yourself. And then there's other people out there that are like that. And then there's people that just aren't interested in those things. There's people that really get caught up in those drama vortexes of negativity. There's energies that are all feeding off that. And it becomes like this nest and just of like mixed up negativity. We're constantly fed that negativity through the mainstream channels, right? Constantly, there's very few positive stories, lots and lots of negative things, right? There's always about this crime, that crime. People addicted now to true crime. That's even a thing now. People are addicted to true crime. They've got people addicted to that. So it's about finding that balance. So here you are, Girl Gone, and you're like, okay, I'm vibing with the planet. I'm on this natural organic timeline. I want to stay here. You don't want these other energies pulling you off. And maybe it is even, when you say people, you could also be experiencing that personally. Could be the people around you, hot and then cold, cold and then hot, right? Now, this week's Tarot and Tea, part of the psychic weather for this week is that people might come off a little cool. So you might experience some of those cold shoulder kind of energies, or somebody's towards you and then they're away from you, that kind of thing. So there's multiple ways that could potentially manifest in your life, depending on your design and your blueprint. Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you for supporting always the channel here. I love sharing my gifts in this way. You know, when I left the corporate world and stopped that whole grind, it was like, whoosh, I had to detox for a couple years. And then after I detoxed, I'm like, oh, now I can finally really relax into doing what I love and learn how to build my life around this, right? Because that's what it's about. We're meant to be in alignment with our purpose, our passion, and what we're meant to do. So Claire is here. Claire is here vibing with us. Girl Gone says, so I'm really trying to stay grounded and not let these energies throw me off, because I think this moment is important. I might not know what's going on, but I feel like it's important to be here. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very important. And, you know, sometimes when I'm feeling that way, where it's like, what's going on? Why are things, and I'm feeling it come up energetically. Why are things so out of control? When I look around, why is it so on and off? The polarization. And here we are trying to alchemize, ground and center our energy in the midst of all that is a challenge, right? It is a challenge, and it takes emotional maturity, which we're going to talk about today. It takes spiritual maturity, which we're going to talk about today. It requires an open mind, a willingness to heal, a willingness to integrate both the shadow and the light, right? So when you realize that, if you can somehow draw, and this is going to be the grounding exercise that we're going to go into in a moment, if you can somehow draw some energy from your sacred agreement, okay? because each of you as a soul made a sacred agreement to be incarnate here on this planet, Mama Gaia, Gaia Sophia, at this time. So she is a living being, the planet, and you are relating to her, Mama Gaia. However, what Pachamama, some of you might like Pachamama, Mother Earth, okay? But you also have a connection to the solar system and our central star, the sun, okay? Ra, right? That Ra energy. There's a lot of solar activity going on right now, solar flares. We've got the comets, right? We've got lots. You have a sacred agreement to be here with all this activity during this time. I think it's very interesting, as within, as without, as above, so below, so as below, so above. Those kind of relationships in the alchemical principles are really coming up right now and important, aren't they? Hello, Kyrell 2638. Hello and welcome to Creators on the Crest. Okay, Kimberly says it's interesting how I can recognize that I'm feeling grief for my younger self and the choices she made out of what she knew at the time. It's hard for me right now to know how to move forward. And I think that's what this Water Grand Trine is going to help you flow through, Kimberly. So this is from the new moon, which we had on the 21st. Okay, now we're on what, the 24th? And all the way through mid-December, we have these Water Grand Trine energy. So you may not yet mentally know, but the important part might actually be in the emotional body. And so if you can use your emotional body to sort through it, you may not even need to know all the details, the ins and outs of why, and take that into a place of overthinking or overanalyzing, because this Water Grand Trine offers us the opportunity to cleanse and clear and shift. So it may not be as hard as your mind might be telling you it is. Remember how our mind also likes, the ego's in there, it likes to try to protect us from any potential danger, right? Including going into our shadows, including going into release where we're crying. And I'm about to sneeze. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm a loud sneezer, y'all. I'm a loud sneezer. I've always been a loud sneezer, so. Woo, all right, there. So we're clearing, right? There's clearing. I can feel heat being released from my body. So, and I'm standing today. So if you're in a place, if you're not working and lurking like at the office or something, you're in a place where you can move your body a little bit, this is going to be part of our grounding exercise. So if you can kind of move, because remember, this Water Grand Trine, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. And for those of you that are Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces moons, ooh, child, this is going to be a big time for you. So check your chart. You may have these in other aspects, but I especially got if you have a water moon that you're going to be feeling it maybe more pronounced than others. Okay. Girl Gone says, I feel like I'm facing myself right now, and how I react to things is being tested. Okay. Very good. Very good. That is such a wise and mature approach and an awareness to have. So now it's just getting through the test, right? All right. So if you haven't already, I have a little white noise machine here. I'm going to bring it a little closer. I'm going to turn up the volume. You should hear like a babbling brook kind of sound. And just if you're in a place where you can safely, even if you're in your chair, just begin to move your body. You know how you have these like ball and socket joints? Start seeing if you can get some of the fluids moving. You're just going to be really gentle. This is a part of our grounding practice. This is an invitation. You do not have to move if you don't want to move, but movement and the water energies go along really, really well. So however you feel called to flow your body, maybe it's some gentle stretching. With me constantly using the cards, I have to stretch the wrist a lot. Some of you type a lot, so just kind of moving flowing, letting some of the lymph in your body get stimulated. All right, and this is going to help us really bring us into our body so that we can work with some of these emotional energies, so that we can feel grounded even as we do get tested, okay? You might want to bring your breath into a rhythm of some kind. Some of you may like the clearing breath, like the Ujjayi breath in yoga, where you drop the tongue to the base of the mouth, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. Okay. Yes. And just take a moment. I'm going to see if I'm going to test this Q&A here. And I'm going to ask, how does your body feel? In one word, as you're moving, how does your body feel? So in one word, let me see if I can start this Q&A. So you're going to move. You're going to flow. Well, now it won't start. Start. See, I always have this trouble. I'm going to talk to YouTube about it because I think I get another interview with them soon where my Q&As won't post. But if you'd like to type out or give me a little note about how you feel in your body right now in one word. Are you starting to feel some space? Can you feel the expansion? Because one of the transits that we have in this Water Grand Trine is Jupiter, big Jupiter in Cancer. You can pretend like you're holding a big beach ball here and stretch those arms a little. However you want to flow and stretch, it doesn't matter how you look. The only one people can see is me, and I just don't care what they think. So yes, getting to the place where we can move our bodies. We're going to be able to flow through these energies no matter how we're tested, no matter what's coming at us. We're going to flow. I can get the water lasso, the Wonder Woman water lasso. Well, I don't know if it's water, but I'm going to say it's water for me. And I can move these energies toward me or away from me, right? Energy flows. Energy can be stagnant any place in your body that might feel stagnant. Kimberly says, can take a deep breath. Yes. Move the breath through. Oh, my hips and my low back are tight. Ladies, gentlemen, do you have that issue? Hips and low back from sitting and just the curvature. I just dropped my pen. That's okay. We flow to pick it up. All right. Okay. Now, if you would, you can still gently move. I invite you to just close your eyes down a little, and if you can, place your feet flat on the ground. If you're barefoot, that's even better. Just connecting. Grounding into your natural sacred connection with Gaia, with our mother planet. Your sacred agreement to be here. You connect all the way down to her roots. And this nourishes you. You begin to allow her energies to cleanse you, to rise up through you, to ground and anchor you into her safety, her presence. Breathing slowly, rhythmically, deeply. Maybe rolling the shoulders back and dropping them down. Opening up the heart, opening up the chest. One of the ways that I like to come back into the present when I'm in these exercises is to begin to create a little warmth, rubbing the hands together, friction in between the palms. You can feel the energy. You can feel the places of coolness as you create the warmth. And just get some heat going between your hands. This is those deep transformative energies of Mother Earth rising up into your palms. Ooh, it's exciting. It feels warm. It feels good. And I invite you to take your nice warm palms and gently, gently cup them over your eyes so that no matter how much light is around you, you can only see the darkness. Just be aware with your closed eyes. What do you see? What do you sense? I see water energy moving in blues and lavenders. It's a place you can pause and just really be with yourself. And for the moment, it blocks out the noise around. And when you're ready, just gently, oh so gently and slowly, maybe a little bit of spirit fingers here, a little wiggle wiggle in the fingers. Allow your hands to drop down, and with a couple of blinks, open your eyes. Woo! Welcome back. Okay. Hopefully now you feel a little more grounded. I'm going to keep the gentle water flow in the background, but I'm going to keep it on. I turned it down a little. Let me know you're still with me. I know that was a little bit of a grounding exercise. Let me know how you feel in your body now compared to the very beginning of Frequency Friday. Here, our intention is always to have the safe space in which to grow, in which to mature ourselves, right? Because we are bumping into shadows, we are bumping into those things. We're not shying away from them. We're aware, and we're going to pay attention to what's going on. So I'm going to talk a little bit now that we've had time to ground. Kimberly says she feels more at peace, right? And you can always take that exercise of movement and then breath and pause, and you can extend that anytime you want. You can come back and listen to it here. You could do it for yourself at home. You could do it in the shower or the bath, a great place to kind of see if you could work with that water element, right? So taking some of those best practices and using them for self-care is so, so important. Let's talk about this grand water trine. Now, trine energy, I kind of imagine it, like a triangle. We've got Jupiter in Cancer, so there's our Cancerian energy. It's expansion, but it's expansion through an awareness of those feelings inside, right? We've got Saturn in Pisces, okay? And Saturn in Pisces, we got a little bit of a lesson going on here. Saturn tends to be our cosmic drill sergeant, our cosmic teacher, okay? So Pisces energy, it's a dreamer kind of energy. It wants everybody to get along. It wants the flow. But Saturn comes in and says, there's lessons here. We've got to work for this, right? It's not something that just comes to you naturally, right? And so then to top it off, we've got the personal planets in Scorpio. So what does that mean? And this is our trine. Personal planets in Scorpio means it's first going to be Mercury and Mars that are traveling through Scorpio, and we are in Scorpio season. So this means that we're going deep from a very real life experience, similar to what Girl Gone has already brought up about the testing, because you're being taken deeper into yourself, into your experience, and you're unlocking wisdom there. But that means that when you're doing that internal work, your external is going to be shifting and changing. And so people consciously or subconsciously are going to pick up on the energy, okay, that you are giving off, and they're going to respond to that in the way that their conscious knowing can or can't, right? And so just keeping that in mind about the others there. Now, Jupiter in Cancer is about expansive emotional growth. It's not about avoiding the emotions at all. It is about growth and expansion, though. So we might be acknowledging or moving into those areas of ourself that we previously dismissed or previously tried to avoid with this Jupiter in Cancer. It's about emotional nourishment. Yes, you want to feel safe. Remember, our Cancerians, our crabs, they have the shell with the beautiful warm inside, right? But they want to feel protected. They want to feel safe. So we'll be moving through some of those energies and talking about that and getting a read on that. But it's also about abundance. Through what? Through empathy, through emotional awareness, through being able to empathically relate to others. It's the intuitive nature that we have. And Cancer or Cancerian energy is all about home. And so we'll look into those energies as well. Home, family, roots, right? That's what we're going to be going into. Jenny is here. Hi, Jenny. Jenny, you've got a personal question, which is great. That is something that I do every other Sunday night. I do free mini readings here on my channel from 7 to 8 p.m. Central. The next one is on November 2nd, so I hope you can join us there. Today is collective message. However, if you stick around, you usually will find some of the answers you're looking for, because as a reader, I am connecting with the greater beings and the energies of those watching live or on the replay. Okay, so stick around if you're able to. Join the community, and maybe you'll have your answer by the end of the live today, right? And you can come back and have some fun with us on the 2nd when I do the live mini readings, okay? So watch for that here on the channel. Saturn and Pisces. Whew, Saturn and Pisces. This is about spiritual discipline and surrendering, okay? Can be hard. Tressa was talking about holding on and releasing control, okay? So she's got these beautiful visions, these beautiful creations, but are there places where she holds on to that too tightly, to the outcome of how she wants those to go? And could the universe be saying, hey, loosen your grasp? You're unlimited. Let me take care of the energy here so that you don't have to work so hard or grind against what you're offering, okay? And so this Saturn and Pisces might be some good lessons for you, similar to what Trust is dealing with. Also, some of you who are job changing here, so if you are in the middle of like, should I leave my job, my career, should I shift gears? Saturn in Pisces is going to help hold the answers, but there will be action, there will be lessons that you will have to learn and deal with as you go. So we're going to look into boundaries with this one, Saturn in Pisces, our known boundaries. So where we know, hey, I've set that boundary, I'm working on maintaining it. But also we're going to look into the unseen boundaries, right? We're going to travel into some of the darker areas of the water. Where are unseen boundaries? Are there boundaries and or limitations that we're putting on something and we're not allowing ourselves to explore the vastness of the ocean, right? Spiritual structure, right? How do you, and I want you guys to tell me in the comments, how do you honor spiritual structure in your life? Okay, so how do you build that into the practical world? Pisces is an energy that likes to flow, but Saturn is an energy that likes structure. So you've got Saturn and Pisces. So you're going to be feeling like Yes, I want to flow. I want to get into that movement again, right? But there's also Saturn coming in and saying, wait, 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 wait. You need to learn this lesson first. So pause, 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 set up a structure, and then you can flow, right? And so we've got those two energies there corresponding. And then, of course, it's about growth into our emotional maturity. So we'll go deeper into that. Then we have the personal planets in Scorpio with Mercury and Mars going in first, okay? And then followed by the Sun, Venus. And also, I don't know if y'all know this, but I was looking this up too. We've got, and I will say right now, let me just give a quick shout out to Molly McCord, okay, here on YouTube. She's on Instagram. I absolutely love her as an astrologer. It was one of those things, I found her and I started listening to her and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. What is she talking about? And then I just kept listening and kept listening. And I started to make these connections between what Molly was sharing and what I was seeing through the energies of the cards and what I was vibing with in some of my content. I love her. And so if you guys aren't subscribed to Molly McCord, be sure to go check her out. She is full of astrological knowledge and wisdom. She brought this up briefly in one of her recent videos, but I wanted to go a bit deeper. We have Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, and she's been there since March, okay? And I looked it up here, so just a little bit about it. Black Moon Lilith, okay, and I'm not going to go into the story of Lilith. Some of you may be familiar with that and her relationship to the Garden of Eden where the Empress sits and everything like that, right? But it's about raw, unfiltered feminine, okay? This might tap into some of, especially for you women, and it's, ooh, I'm starting to burp. Energies are moving. Some of you have some energy to move up and out of your dark feminine energies, okay? So the shadow feminine, the dark feminine, raw, wild, unfiltered, okay? So some of you who might be going into the movements, you might get a little wild with that, and that's okay. That's your body's way of shaking off and processing some of these energies. I'm seeing some of you might use hula hoops or hoops. That might be something for some of you, or poi, the poi balls, you know, that you can swing around. Crystal sticks, things like this. Very interesting. That's coming up for some of you. Might really enjoy that kind of a movement. Lilith is the energy of the dark feminine, or the feminine originally in her balance energies being cast out. So this is where we get into what I would call, okay, the true, and I do not really love the word feminist. I don't like the narrative around what it's become. But this is about transformation and empowerment of the feminine. Okay, so it is tapping into the natural aspect of that energy, not the broadcasted propaganda type, you know, narrative that's around that has, you know, oh, down with the men and blah, 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 you know, like, no, that's a toxic mimic. So we're going to come into the natural energies of dark moon Lilith in the Scorpio, in the depths. And we have to get comfortable with her within ourselves first. The really good way to process this energy, y'all, is to go into music. Like if you've ever listened to like a funeral dirge where it's like deep and, you know, you can go in through music. The didgeridoo is a great way. That is an instrument that whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, we're talking about those deep feminine, like childbirth, like the depths, the throes of the waves. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So some of you are really going to be feeling into that energy until this cycle ends. So we've also got that going on, which I'm not going to read on today, but maybe that could become something we incorporate later. All right. So we've got the Mercury, the Mars, the Venus, and the Sun all dancing through Scorpio. And of course the moon phases too, right? We're going to talk about shadow integration. Yes. Okay. we're going to be integrating that shadow. And it's very interesting. Once you integrate a necessary part of your shadow, it no longer pulls you in these disharmonious directions, right? It's just when we're upon it and we're like, oh, we're going to have to deal with that, it can feel really large. It can feel really big. It can feel really scary, et cetera, et cetera. But that's where we have to pull on our courage and trust this water energy to flow us through. It's about emotional rebirth, transformation, Scorpio, right? But also the emotional rebirth. And are you rebirthing just maybe into more stabilized emotional energies, okay? Possibly. Scorpio is also about expressing truth, okay? Expressing truth, because Scorpio has done the work. Scorpio has gone deep. Some of you may feel like you're going to be researching, okay? And not only from an analytic perspective to gain the information about something, could be a health issue, could be looking for a new job, could be, you know, XYZ, whatever it is for you. It's going to be more about how you feel about it, the emotional vibration that you get when you tap into that energy. And then at the end of the day, this is all about integrating that shadow so you can reclaim your power here. So we have multiple things going on in these water energies, but we have this trine running right now, and it's a very optimal time to be working on some of these things. Okay, so let's get in. I'm gonna read Kimberly's comment here, and then I'll get into the oracle reading. But I want you to feel free to comment. How do you feel about these watery energies? Are you aware where you might have certain water aspects in your chart that might indicate to you where you're going to be doing the work? Also in the Scorpio energies, these energies are in the third decan, okay? And in every sign, as I'm learning, there's like 30 degree points. And so those are broken up into thirds. So the first 10 degrees, the second 10 degrees, and the third. These energies are happening in the third decan where where's my notes? Because I'm still learning, y'all, and you're learning with me. The third decan introduces a more mutable quality, right? And that's where that emotional maturity and that emotional rebirth is happening, suggesting that the energies present are flexible and adaptable, which is water. It takes the shape of a container, right? It's flexible, adaptable. We can pour it into a cylinder. We can pour it into a sphere, like a fishbowl. We can pour it into a square. It takes the shape. It's mutable. It's flexible. Kimberly is a Capricorn sun and moon. I believe Girl Gone's Capricorn too, right? Capricorn energy. Ruled by Saturn. There's another angle Kimberly just brought in. So you're more comfortable with the structure than the emotional flow, right? But with that Saturn in Pisces, it's going to want you to do both, right? It's going to want you to do both. You may have to, for your individual blueprint, you may have to incorporate more movement. You know, I've been seeing a lot of things, like I'm seeing things like Tai Chi. I'm seeing like unscripted movement for you is going to be helpful. If you're not comfortable, you're more comfortable with the structure and the setup and the list. Okay. You know, that's fine. But if you can get yourself reset through your body, through the flow and the movement. Okay. So if you want to give yourself, put on a timer. If you want a little structure, for the next, 8 minutes, let's take 8 because it's the number of abundance, or 7 because it's the number of change and momentum and movement. Set your timer. There you go. There's your structure. And then just free form move for that much until that timer beeps. All right. Get that movement going in the body. Your body will inform the rest of you. It will inform you very much. It may inform about the structure. It may break structures down, right? But remember, we have tissues in our body. All of this is corresponding to the way we feel. Like I'm feeling it in my hips. I probably need to do some belly dancing or something like that, So try that. All right. Let's get into this oracle reading. I haven't even pulled a card yet. Whew. All right, little sip of water, sip of tea, whatever you've got there, coffee. I had a fun post here on my channel about voting. You could vote for what you were sipping on. Was it herbal tea, coffee? So be sure to check that out in the community section. All right, we're going to kick off this oracle reading now. And we've got here the magical mermaids and dolphins. Why not? Why not the magical mermaids and dolphins? Okay, we're going to have a little fun with it. My daughter loves this deck. She considers it hers, but of course I still use it. Ooh, this one's coming out. Any of you that have been asking yourself a yes, no question, okay? Any of you who have been going through that with yourself, I got an answer for you here. So I'm going to give you a minute. Just take a moment and think of if you have a question that could have a yes, no answer. Should I take this job? Yes, no. Okay. Now, of course, there's more to it, but we're getting an answer here. Okay. We're getting a yes, no answer. Should I respond to so-and-so? Right? Do I move in this way today? Whatever it might be for you, ask your question. Take a moment. And I'm about to give you the answer from the magical mermaids and dolphins here. You got yes. The answer is yes to your question. Your intuition is correct. Take action accordingly. So for those of you who've been looking for that kind of yes, no, we got a yes here intuitively. This could also be yes, welcoming you into, what do I want to say? This Water Grand Trine energy. Yes, dive deep into this. Yes, be vulnerable. Mermaids don't often have many clothes on, right? Be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be in that beautiful energy. Allow yourself to flow. The hair is flowing. Fish are swimming around. She's got seashells adorned throughout her hair. Yes. Yes, yes, yes is your answer. Okay. So sometimes it's nice just to get that. Let's get that. Let's, we're going to test these shallow waters with a quick hit there, quick hitter. So that's what the mermaids and dolphins, I like it because it's light. It's more playful energy. We're exploring the depths, but we're also coming up for air to the surface. We're going to get into the Healing Waters Oracle next. This is where things get maybe a little more serious, emotionally speaking. Oh, we're going to go with the one that fell out here. Deep breath. This would be past life connection for some of you. Some of you during this cycle of this Water Grand Trine are going to be healing past life energies to do with Atlantis, okay? Some of you as souls know that you have a relationship, that you have past life history, responsibility, relationships from and during the time of Atlantis. You can call it a myth. I call it lore. I call it logos. I absolutely believe Atlantis was real. Maybe not in the exact way we think it was, but I do believe it was a civilization. And it says here, keep the bigger vision. Stay in alignment as you grow. All right? Because that's one of the things about Atlantis that went wrong. The alignment wasn't there. Okay? According to the mythos, the alignment was not there. Technology was there and it was advanced. And unfortunately, it wasn't aligned with the energies of, let's say, more along the lines of Lemuria, which was more into connection with the natural world. Those are the Pacific Island energies, right? Hawaii, which we're going to get into as well during this oracle reading. Okay. But we need both. Alignment is about our Atlantean past, our Lemurian past, those of us who are connected to those civilizations, remaining in alignment, right? This is what Kimberly mentioned about, well, I'm more comfortable with the structure than the emotional flow. You got to be in alignment. You got to have both. And this Atlantis history runs very deep. For those of you who do have a past life, you will know it. Trust me, you will know it. There's just a vibration in you. You know you were there. You know you were a part of it. Same thing for the Lemurian energies, okay? And it may have to do with you falling out of alignment. The civilization did fall, okay? It had to be restarted, rebirthed. Perhaps we are in the rebirth of that cataclysm, of that situation, because the technology was misused. And here we are, what's happening? We're in a great technological age where things are building again. And some of us who had responsibilities, who had relationships during this Atlantean time, right? We are back again. And some of it is we're resolving karma, and some of it is choosing to be in alignment so we can take the correct path this time for ourselves and for the world to avoid, right? Cataclysm again, right? We're learning here. We're souls that are learning. Tressa loves the mermaids and dolphins deck. Isn't it wonderful? You know, my daughter has one of those mermaid tail things. She loves to put that on in the pool and like flap around and do the mermaid thing. I love it. Yes, love it. Grogan got an answer to dig deeper into your fourth life path. Your life path number? Ooh, cool. Okay, so that was a yes to go deeper into that. And you say, Grogan, one of your past lives. Some of you and I, we may know each other. That's why we found each other in this way again from Atlantean times. You know you had a past life there, but it's a little fuzzy. That's okay. You do dream about the ocean a lot. Okay. You could have both Lemurian and Atlantean connections. I have been told that for the energy of Atlantis, if you're ever able to get out that way, that Sarasota Beach in Florida, maybe Teresa knows more about that, is supposed to be like a crystalline beach. Okay, so like the sand is different there, and allegedly it's connected to Atlantis, like the Hawaiian Islands are connected to Lemuria. So some of you may have a desire to visit there, and it maybe that would help clear up some of the fuzziness. You could put it on your bucket list, your wish list. Yeah, now you're excited. Yeah, I'm excited. I am a Cancer sun. That's probably why I'm excited. But guess what else I have? I have Saturn in Cancer as well. So I'm constantly getting taught. If I don't uphold, you know, for me, and maybe y'all should look at what your Saturn's in. Some of you might have Saturn in Pisces, which is what's going on right now. So it might be a really good time for you on those aspects. Look at these planets, Jupiter, Saturn, all these planets. We got a lot going on. What sticks out to you though? Okay, all right. It's funny that I mentioned Hawaii. A few times my daughter wants to go to the Job Corps over there, but I'm a little nervous about sending her that far. Yeah, and I'm not sure which island that's on. But I can tell you, and just like anywhere in the States, like the continental states, there's issues, you know, going on over there as well. There's a lot of like recent history, but you're talking about it's a place of constant metamorphosis. I have you might want to check on the websites, and I don't know one off the top of my head, but the astrocartography websites where you can see like where your lines are, all your different astrological lines that tell you about how you'll resonate with a certain place. You could do that for your daughter, and you could see what energies are coming up for her if she were to go there. And I know it's far. It's definitely not a place you could get to right away if you needed to, but it's a beautiful experience. And when I'm there, I usually do not want to leave. But my heart line astrologically is connected very close to that area. Craig, and welcome, Craig. And Craig, you're welcome absolutely to have your opinion. I disagree that we only have one life. I am very deeply connected. I have a deep soul memory to other things, but you know, everyone is here having a different experience. It's not a one size fits all world or universe. So you are absolutely welcome to your opinion with that. And even though I have the knowledge and wisdom of my connection to other lifetimes, other dimensions, and I know myself to be multidimensional, I never use that as an excuse not to be my highest and best every day of my life. Okay, so some people, you know, oh, you only have one life, so you got to live it right. Okay, we're all here to learn different things, and no matter what life I'm in, my intention is always to grow into the highest and best versions of myself, resolve any issues or karmic issues that I have, and move accordingly. Okay? Yes, it's gorgeous to see. Tressa says Siesta Key. Siesta Key might be the place to go. Oh, thank you, Teresa, for that recommendation. I've pulled a card from the Impasse Oracle, okay, for the next part of our reading here. And I really like this because it's speaking to experiencing the reality of change. And it's speaking to that mutability that I was talking about in the third decan with these energies, astrologically speaking. And look at this card. Wow. There's a lot going on in these cards. They're very abstract. I will say for me, I'm definitely seeing like seashell kind of patterns here in what looks to be like a fan almost, but I do see like striations that remind me of like seashells weathered by the ocean. I'll just kind of turn this card around a little bit. You could look at that maybe as wings fluttering. Yeah, sometimes it's interesting to get a different perspective on these pictures. I see now like a sun and sunshine rays glowing. Use your imagination. Part of what's going on in this Water Grand Trine is activations in imagination, creativity, emotional awareness, and freedom. The ability to allow yourself to daydream. That's a Pisces energy. What do you see? Let me know. What do you see there in this picture? Very dynamic. I'm seeing almost like now I'm seeing like a spiral kind of come out there. Well, Craig, I don't know. I don't feel dangerous or dark at all. And in fact, I'm here to integrate my darkness personally, okay? For me, and I think for some of the other people here, we're well aware that this is a universe of contrasting expressions of both light and dark. That does not mean we do dark acts. That does not mean we don't protect ourselves, spiritually speaking. We absolutely take care of ourselves. All right, so there may be something for you that's different because again, it's not a one size fits all world. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not going to try to interpret this for you, but you could have some fear going on there. A lot of times when we go to do shadow-like work and we work to integrate our shadow, we're integrating it for balance. We're not integrating it so we can be like Darth Vader and the Emperor and try to control things, right? Which is what we see in our world. We see that in the outward expression. And there is darkness out there and there's dark magic and that's all that, but that is not what I subscribe to personally. Okay? There are people who go into the darkness and never come back, and that's part of their experience. All right? There are people who are not aligned with the organic darkness versus, you know, like the inorganic, where all of the inversions come in that we see in the world. So there's nothing about what I do that is about that kind of energy, empire kind of energy, control kind of energy. What I do is I'm looking for those aspects of self that are just as much a part of me, the darkness, as is the light. You even see it in this card here, the juxtaposition of that, because if I'm going to be the highest and best version of myself, I cannot ignore and suppress different aspects of myself. Does that mean I'm going to act against natural law and do harm? Absolutely not. Okay, absolutely not, because I'm in alignment with creation. I'm in alignment with natural and cosmic law, and I am here to evolve the world and make it a better place. So, but you know, you're welcome to have your relationship to that. Everybody's here for different reasons and different purposes. Yeah. And you're not wrong or bad. You're having a human experience just like the rest of us. And maybe you just differ in your opinion about what the spiritual aspects are, and that's fine. Yeah, we do get the Hawaiian, and the last oracle card I'm going to get is the Hawaiian message. Yeah. Yeah, and Craig, you're welcome here, but I think you're going to bump into not really resonating with my channel, perhaps. I mean, I hope you do, and I hope your mind is open enough, but if it's not for you, that's okay. There's plenty of channels out there that may be aligned with your beliefs, and maybe that's something you need to explore, okay, elsewhere. But you are welcome here. You're welcome to come to the table and share your opinion. And all of your comments help me grow. So I appreciate that, because I am trying to connect with like-minded, like-hearted people out there on YouTube. And the more engagement I have, the more it sends me out. So I really appreciate you. Yeah, everyone is going to face things in their own time. Yeah, I'm not here to force anybody. I'm just sharing what I get. Okay, I'm sharing my intuition, my creativity. Yeah, I know you're being respectful, and I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Experiencing the reality of change, though. Let's go into this, because the mutable energies, the third decan energies of astrology, ooh, you know, this is where mutable means we have flexibility, adaptability to things, and that really feels good, especially like, for example, like what Kimberly was admitting she struggles with, the structure versus the flow and the emotional flow, right? And this allows us to kind of work with that energy here, knowing that we're going to be, maybe you're just, you know, you secure yourself in safety with the structure, and then within that structure, whether it be time bound, energy bound, whatever it is for you, then you can have the flow in that, and you can kind of test the water. Other people, maybe that have like a lot of water in their chart, they're just going to dive in. Scorpio energy, I know people have Scorpio, what's it called, where you have three, I forget. This is one of those words that's left my mind for some reason, but if you have 3 planets in one sign, Kimberly knows. I know she'll tell me. I know she'll tell me in a minute, but some of you might have that kind of energy and you want to dive in, right? We're going to allow ourselves to have our own unique experience of the change. Look how many different things are going on here. We can all have, and we can come at things from different angles and have different lessons. And, you know, part of the conversation that's been happening is all about that. It's about letting it be respectful and letting it be okay for people to have their journey, right? All right, we're going to go into the Angel Dreams Oracle. This is where I feel like this deck is more where we get a little subconscious message. Yeah, I don't remember either, but I'll think of it. I'm so into the trine. I keep thinking Grand Water Trine, and I can't think of what that's called. Stellium. There it is. It came. Stellium. Some people have a water stellium, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces stellium in their chart. Ooh, this is very, very interesting. And I think this is really going to go into the Saturn and Pisces energy when we look into the tarot later in the tarot reading. We got nettle. Now, when I think of nettle, I think of like stinging nettle. I think of sharp. Okay. And it is about boundaries and caution, right? It maybe is a little bit more about that structure that Saturn likes, right? And maybe some of you work with some of this energy when you're setting up your own energetic protection, right? You might have a little bit of nettle planted outside your energetic circle, right? Nettle tea is also very popular, and that could be used. You know, of course, check your healthcare needs and your intuition on that, but nettle. Boundaries and caution. Okay. Now, for others of us, this could be indicating that we're too cautious about something and we're not drawing in on enough courage to step forward, right? So nettle could really be informing us. That might be some of what Girl Gone brought up in the beginning, where she was talking about, I'm getting these mixed like signals from people. It's okay to have a bit more boundaries with people until you know for sure what you're getting. Are you getting the hot? Are you getting the cold? Are you getting alignment, right? And so there might be a need or just an awareness, and that energy comes in as a reminder. So whatever you need for your boundaries and your protection and your caution. I also get, for some of us, it's about watching, having situational awareness when we're out and about, when we're driving. Some of you, when you're driving, oh, and this is coming in again. Okay. First of all, some of you need to pay more attention when you're driving, perhaps. Okay, I'm not telling you what to do, but, and it may not even be for your driving skills. It may be for watching others, right? Watching what's going on around you, being more alert. Even if you're like just like listening to an audiobook or something like that, making sure that your attention is around you where people are turning. Like I'm almost seeing somebody take like a wrong turn onto, like they're going the wrong way on a one-way street or something. And this came up also for those of you who have to go out. You know, we have to go out from time to time. We go shopping, we go in the stores. I kept getting this vision, so who's ever listening, watch out for this. I kept getting this vision of like somebody on like one of those little, you know, at the grocery store, you can push the cart, or they have like some people ride the carts, a little motorized. I keep getting like someone like coming toward you or coming at you, or maybe it's me. I mean, I'm going to be watching for this too. On one of those motorized carts, or like coming around a corner really fast on one of those and like almost hitting you. So watch out for this stuff. That could be where this is coming from. It's that kind of energy, because remember, there's a lot going on in the ethers here, floating around. There's a lot of electromagnetic energy, even the Wi-Fi and the internet and all that, and Amazon and everything. It glitched the other day. I don't know if you guys noticed that. There were glitches. There were people sending out apology emails because they were trying to do something on their website and it wasn't working out. So keep an eye on that. You know, it's about situational awareness and just knowing your environment. All right, we're going to go into the whispers of aloha. This is where we go into more of that Lemurian kind of energy. This might indicate something for you, Girl Gone, with your daughter. Oh, I've got two. Okay. Honestly, this feels really, really beautiful. Both of these cards, two of them kind of stood out here. We got the number 15, partnership with the divine, a date with spiritual renewal. Oh my gosh, I love that. Spiritual renewal, emotional rebirth. Look at this beautiful picture. And look, it's represented with the masculine energy. I really love that. Partnership with the divine. Oh, very active masculine energy. Those parts of us like dedicated ritual to connect with the divine, to be on the beach, to be in the dirt, to be in the sand, to gaze at the clouds, right? Through the very human experience, having this level of connection. I love that. It also feels very good, Girl Gone, for your daughter, as far as like spiritual connection there as well. Just mention that. And maybe it's her actions when she's there in the Job Corps, right? To make that come to life for herself. And look at this beautiful card. Number 3, magnified and brought to light. Prepare for expansion in the heart and the mind. And I love that. I think there's going to be heart expansion coming up for us during this Water Grand Trine. So that's going to lead, like the bigger energy is going to lead, and that's the heart energy. And then here we have the mind, the mental energy coming behind. If you get your heart aligned, the rest will come. The mind will come into alignment. So this is emotional and mental energies coming into alignment. This is that structure with that mutability, that flexibility, and that flow. And I just absolutely love the beauty of this card. We've got the moon energy there. So some of you may want to work with the moon energies or have your little meditations and rituals going on during that time. Tressa is sharing that nettle is great for allergies and eczema. Wow, yes. I did battle with acne rosacea. I don't know if it works for that, but I battled with that. I'll probably share the story and the pictures at some point. My entire face was broken out in deep, like cystic acne. It happened like all at once when I was doing a liver cleanse. Whew. Okay. And so, yeah, so, you know, use caution as you're moving through stuff like that as well. But I love these beautiful energies here for the Hawaiian energies, the Lemurian energies. It feels very empowering and it feels very aligned. So you're saying the independence energy she needs. You know, when I was, what was I? 19, 20, 21, I think, somewhere in there. No, it would have been, when would it have been? 22? Anyway, I don't know what age I was when, apparently. But after I went to my 4 years of college, okay, got that mediocre college education, right? I moved away to Flagstaff, Arizona. And I lived there for a few years. And when I took classes there at Northern Arizona, and when I was taking classes there, they had a program to travel abroad. And I applied and I got it. I got to travel abroad and go stay with, you know, a host family. And I was doing like my student teaching, because at the time I was looking for a secondary education certificate on one of the Army bases there in Germany. And my parents like freaked out. They're like, oh my gosh, you know, furthest away you've ever been. I mean, it was a lot for me to move to Arizona and away from where I live in the Midwest. And then for me to say, oh, by the way, I'm going across, you know, the big pond now. And it was tough for them, but it was actually like my godmother who was like, oh, I'm so excited for her. And she was the kind of woman who was very independent. And she had traveled to Russia, and she had really done some of these things that people just find mind-blowing sometimes. So, you know, and you could always like make arrangements to go visit, perhaps. Maybe that would be a good opportunity for you to get out there and get in those Lemurian vibes yourself. Yeah, she's a little scared. Yep. You've probably raised her right, though, you know, and it's about like just reminding her to be aware of her surroundings and what's going on, and to enjoy the nature and connect with the nature. I think it really probably will help her find herself. But you're probably going to be feeling a certain way, especially as a mama energy right now, and feeling the emotions connected to that during this Water Grand Trine. So, all right, so here we are. We're in this very hydrated time. Make sure you all stay hydrated. Get you a drink of water. Get your tea, your water, whatever. Stay nice and hydrated during this time, right? Because we want our cells to be flowing and cleansing as we are doing the work. Stay moving if you can. You may want to try to work standing up from time to time so you can move your body a little bit more. These are some of the good things to do. Because remember, this is a fertile time for inner alchemy and flow. So as we're doing that, you can have your body get on board with it, right? Oh, she's your only girl, I know. I have one daughter as well. One son, one daughter. And then we're also still babysitting this week. Well, not still, but he had a sleepover with us. Jason's little grandson is here. And he's a Cancer like me. So we have our emotions, and Jason's like Earth sign over here going, what's wrong with you guys? We're emotional beings. Thank you. We're emotional beings. All right, the breakout readings. I'm going to go in first to Jupiter and Cancer. This is going to be about the expansive emotional growth, okay? It's what we're reaching into and how we're doing so from a place of empathy. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to get to Saturn in Pisces. So I know, Kimberly, you're kind of like the structure versus that might be, your reading today. I don't know. It might be the best one for you. Spiritual discipline and surrender, boundaries, structure, and emotional maturity, coming out of all of that. Don't forsake that spiritual connection, though, through the emotional energies, because Pisces will always bring that. It will always bring that powerfully. And then number three will be those personal planets in Scorpio. So all these planetary bodies that are moving through Scorpio, deeper, 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 taking you deeper and deeper and deeper, helping you reclaim your power, your truth. We're going to go with the Light Seers Tarot today, because I just feel like the images in this one really evoke emotions, maybe better than the traditional. Your oldest son will be going with her, so letting them both go out into the world to find themselves. Whew. I know Kimberly can relate to that. I know I'm not there yet because my son is 12, my daughter is 9, but Jason's there with his kids, right? Some of them have already been out. He's got one more that's still going to go out, and whew, yeah. It's one thing where you have them, they're at home base, they're safe, what's going on, most of the time. It's another thing when you don't know all those things and they're far away. Yeah. And I would just encourage you to allow yourself to explore your emotions. This is a beautiful time for you to explore all your emotions around that. Kimberly too. Kimberly is adapting to being an empty nester, and that's huge. You're so used to having that energy, that sound, your child, you have, here we are about to do Jupiter and Cancer. You want to protect, you want to expand your energy to protect them their whole life, That mama bear kind of is coming through. All right, so first card is going to be emotional nourishment. Second card, safety. Third card, abundance through empathy. Ooh, child. And last, home. Whoa, that one flew out. Home, family, and roots. Okay, let's take a look here. Very interesting dynamic energies coming up. The first card up. Okay, so here we are. We're grounded in exploring this emotional growth for ourselves. Okay, sometimes it's like, I don't want to come out of the shell, or I don't want to let my kids out of the protective shell. It's a little bit scary. I'm a little bit apprehensive, but I am willing to explore. Okay. Emotional nourishment. The Empress, one of my absolute favorite cards from this deck. Love it, love it, love it. The energies of the Empress here. And you will notice this does include children, childbirth. But this, for those of you where that is not the current case, it could be about ideas, concepts, dreams you have that you're birthing from deep within yourself. The Empress is known to be in the pregnancy energies, right? And sometimes that energy is the actual birth portal is a letting go. It's a surrendering, right? And some of you, this is so deeply connected to your motherhood, to your womb space. All right. That's what the Empress is coming in and nourishing that space. Great time for all of us females, especially, to really nourish the womb space, whether you do that through herbs, you have your wild yam cream for your hormones, you just put the little, like one of those little heat pads, or you get an abdominal massage. Really, really good time for the womb and the movement and the clearing of the womb. It's deep, Okay, it's like some of the most potent, powerful work you can do. A lot of us have had to release energies from that. So it's been like, you know, shadow energies from past partners. That's coming up here. In order for us to really enrich that womb space, even if you've had surgeries, y'all, if you've had surgeries, surgical scar tissue, this kind of thing, all of this is desiring to be nourished and accepted and loved. And so that's the energy we're going to move into, especially females there with the womb. For the masculine, men, what it feels like to me is you going deeper into allowing yourself to feel those strong emotions that you carry inside. In particular, for many of you, I'm getting sadness, okay? Some of you need to cry, men here, and you have very good reason to cry. The reason, because I was just listening to this, the Navajo traditional teachings this morning, and he was talking about, Elder Wally was talking about how they are taught not to cry for no reason, right? Like it's like the small stuff, or, you know, the fake crying and stuff like that, so that their tears are very purposeful. And that's what I'm feeling for the masculine energies is there's some deep emotion in there. There's some sadness, especially, that needs to be processed. Usually that sadness is a layer under the anger and the fear. Okay, the fear of actually like going in there to the point where it's too much and you have to release it. And I'm feeling that for some of the masculine energies, for some of the men. So it's very interesting. The feminine and masculine are coming in here, both wanting a little bit of attention in unique ways. Now, not only does this help you as the feminine or the masculine, but in your relationships as well, have knowing and awareness about what might be going on in the masculine, what might be going on in the feminine. Okay, I'm also having a little bit of a message here to pay attention to the left and right sides of your body, the right side being the masculine, the left side being the feminine. So the left side of the body connected to the right brain, the right side of the body connected to the left brain, right? For the masculine. Oh boy, yes. There are some things that are going to be arising. And you're going to know, like, for example, it's very interesting. Like, one of my knees has been bothering me, and it's my left knee. So it's in my feminine energies. And Jason's, one of his knees have been bothering him. Guess what? It's his right knee, his masculine body energies. So isn't it interesting too? There's a lot of mirroring going on between the masculine and the feminine here, okay? And so this is something that it's to be paid attention to here. And men especially, you have a reason to cry, okay? I would not recommend forcing that. It's about going in and just exploring those energies. Maybe it's grief, maybe it's a little stuck grief, maybe it's a little guilt about something, right? And just, if the tears come, let the tears flow. Find yourself a space where you can let it flow. Oh, well, D. Jix Jimenez, we can agree to disagree, but I so appreciate your comments because they help me get further out into the algorithm and find the people who are aligned with these messages. And, you know, it's not a one-size-fits-all world, so you're welcome to your own belief system. Maybe I do need to cry, and I will if I need to. You don't have to. This is just a message for those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear. But I appreciate your comments. They help me grow. Thank you so much. So Girl Gone says, crying is helping you really release those suppressed emotions. And it's very human. Yes, and we have to let that be okay. Now, sometimes it will even be triggered or stimulated by something outside of what it's actually about. You could just be listening to a song and all of a sudden the emotional energy begins to rise within you and you feel the need to release. So music is a beautiful way to help stimulate that and release through that. Movement is a beautiful way water, using water, whether it be saunas, steam is coming up as being helpful during this time too. Okay, so the steam kind of energies, you could do a little steam for your face. It's good for your pores and everything like that. Whew, girl gone, you got a bad left knee too? I know, mine just, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes, man, it just like acts up and it feels like it needs to pop and it just kind of gets stuck. And once in a while I have to like put some castor oil on it and some of my cannabis oil and stuff on there to just kind of relax it down. Yeah, Jason likes to run. I'm like turning the corner from running. I used to run a lot. Now I do walking, and I do the weighted vest though. So it does put pressure on my muscles and joints too. So I take a lot of collagen too. That seems to help. It's in my water here, and I had some in my coffee earlier. So find what works, of course, for you. Safety. Okay, so I was thinking about this today because I am interested in obviously having more like-minded, like-hearted people find my channel here, right? And I have been working with the energy of fear around it getting too big, because I love the way that I get to interact with you all, and I love the personal nature and safety, and having a safe container extend from my desire in the physical to the online space is so important to me. And maybe it is that Cancerian energy in me. Maybe it is the sun and Saturn and Cancer there, and those fourth house energies, where I just really want to always have this be a safe space for people who are resonating with this part of the journey. Okay. And a safe space for anybody willing to take the journey. And so what comes up here is very beautiful, because I think it speaks not only to my own experience, but to what some of you might be experiencing. We got the Nine of Pentacles, and I really do love this card because it is a very positive card, okay? And it's also recognizing that we have built this. We have built this safety ourselves by attuning ourselves to the energy of safety itself. Now, maybe that's expressed through our motherhood, our fatherhood, right? Being that rock, being that stable, safe place for a child, for example. But it's also creating the safe space to explore yourself, your shadows, right? Because here we're not going to fear our shadows. We're going to integrate as necessary. This is the energy of like, we have the independence, we have done the work. We're definitely not going to do any harm. Do no harm, but we're also not going to take any, you know what, caca, BS, right? Do no harm, but take no BS, right? And this is the Nine of Pentacles. We've earned it. We've done it. This is a recognition from the universe to us. This is also a little shout out to the Hermit energies, the number 9 energies, the Virgo season energies. For those of you who did some work during Virgo season, maybe take a look at that and see what that was. You did something to build and enhance safety. And guess what? The best place that we have power over is our own ability to create safety within, safety for our children. That extends to our homes, our families, right? We extend that, and it will keep extending. Like we saw here, magnified and brought to light, right? This is a world where a lot of people, unfortunately, and a lot of children do not feel safe. And here during this Water Grand Trine, we can expand this energy of safety. Safe to be yourself, safe to express your emotions, safe to explore the mysteries that the Scorpio energies are calling to, right? We're forming this safety, and the universe is coming in saying, dang good job, y'all. Dang good job there of creating that space within yourself so that it radiates out into the world. And it's part of our creational energies. It's part of being a creator being, is to create a safer, more harmonious world for all. Okay, so those of you who have that mission, a safer world for women, a safer world for children, a safer world for the animals, right? When you're feeling into that energy and that desire, you know, you're this is actually your creational energy coming into play. We're being acknowledged here, which I think is lovely. Grogan says, when people say spirituality is evil, it's like we are spiritual beings too. Your spirit leaves your body, so you are spiritual beings experiencing a human experience. Yes, I absolutely agree. That has been what I have felt deeply, so deeply in the core of my being, in the bones of my body, down into my heart core essence. It's been, you know, the basis for Kimberly and I connecting in life. Like, we see it in each other. Girl Gone, I know when I meet you in person, hopefully one day I'll meet you in person. I'll meet Teresa in person. When I meet you in person, there you are. It's like the recognition of like, yes, I get you. And we feel it online too. But in person, you know, it's like vibing. It's like, whoa, yeah, you know, here's my, and maybe one day, y'all, I have toyed with the idea of doing retreats someday, one day. Maybe we could go someplace like Hawaii, all right? So let's not underestimate. There it is. Let's not underestimate the power of our creational energies. They create safety, and then they create the space where when we feel safe, we can then expand further. We can grow. We can go into these emotions. We can let some of the structure fall away, right? There's nothing evil about, yeah, embracing your human and spiritual side, because yes, that's the way we're made. So, you know, when Creators on the Crest, the whole reason I call my channel that is because it's an acknowledgement that we are connected to the natural prime creator of the universe. We're connected to our own creational energies. We're aware of all the reactive energies that go on in this playground where we're learning. Okay, we're learning to become the best versions of ourselves through all of this inverted reflection, right? And the desire and the momentum to create that reality for ourselves, for our children, for the future generations, right? The next 7 generations, as the indigenous people of the Americas call it. This is important work. This is important stuff. Divination means working with the divine. It includes prayer as well, requesting your wants be heard and answered by the divine understanding of God. Yes, and you can use the term God if you want to. Personally, I don't, because of what I interpret as a God matrix going on in part of the inversions, but I understand what people mean, and I understand where they're coming from, right? So whether it's Great Spirit, God, Creator, right? And so, yeah, actually being able to have these conversations. And there's just something so limiting about not exploring these aspects of ourselves when we, you know, like there's all this matter in the universe that's dark, that's shadow, that's like, they can't explain it, but it's like our cells themselves. There's like the organelles, but you go in the nucleus and there's all this like space, like, and all this dark matter takes up this space. Like, it's part of us. And I don't really prescribe to belief systems where that you can't go there. That's a part of you. And you'll naturally go there, and you'll naturally integrate what you need to, even the shadow aspects. Right? We all have times in life where we've been hurtful or petty or, you know, mean to our brother and sister, maybe sibling rivalry, that kind of thing, right? Like, we all have times where we've done something that we regret or we make mistakes. That's got to be integrated, right? And there's something inside of me that knows that, right? And I personally do not subscribe to all the external stuff. Like, if you use the term God, that's great. It's the God force within. I'm not saying I am a God, okay? Because that whole thing to me is part of the God matrix. It's like people who have those complexes, it's like part of the inversions. But I'm saying, like, I am connected very deeply with that creational energy within. And so it's so fun to explore and so necessary for me to explore. I can't imagine not exploring that energy and working to integrate it into my greater being. Like, that's what's going to help me become the best version of myself. If I'm ignoring half of what's going on with me, I'm never going to be able to become the best version of myself, right? The most complete, the most harmonious version. And so, abundance through empathy. This is, whew, this is the next card, and this is challenging. And I think everything that's unfolded, even on this live today, is so beautifully designed. Every comment that everyone made, even if they disagree respectfully or not so respectfully, it's being shown in this abundance through empathy, the Eight of Swords. Okay, now the Eight of Swords represents a self-contained look. I mean, she's gazing into a mirror and she's knowing where she ties herself up, where she gets stuck, right? So even in some of the comments today, back when I was first on my spiritual awakening part, you know, I might have been really defensive and like, you know, but as you mature and you get more confident in these energies, you realize the ways that you might limit your connection to others. This abundance through empathy could also be empathizing with another version of yourself, particularly a past version, a younger version of yourself that you're working to integrate. She did the best she could. He did the best he could with what he knew at the time, right? So there's that grace coming in. And in order to have the abundance, we have to release the versions of our past selves that made the mistakes, that said the cutting words, that reacted out of anger, that made a mistake, right? And we have to integrate and bring them into wholeness with us. Lucy movie 1 + 1 doesn't really equal 2 because the universe is infinite and full of possibilities. I'll have to check that out. I have not seen that. I will check that out. So now what's cool is 8 is the number of abundance. So abundance is acknowledged here. We're talking about Cancer, Jupiter and Cancer. So we're expanding our empathy. One good way that we can be more empathetic of others is to love and empathize with the prior versions of ourselves. We're not leaving them behind. We're not canceling them out, okay? This isn't about an inner cancel culture or anything like that. We're embracing. As if, you know, sometimes when you are a parent, you can use a really good technique where you could look at your past self, your younger self, even your past life self, who maybe was part of the destruction, part of the cataclysms, previous cataclysms, made mistakes, used technology incorrectly. If we look at that through the lens of how much we love the child, right? That was a childlike version of us. That was a younger version of us. And we're being asked to look deeply into that, to let it be okay for her to release these binds. She no longer has to suffer. He no longer has to suffer for the mistakes of the past, right? So we're offering grace, and abundance is going to come through that empathy. So it starts with yourself, and then maybe those closest to you, and then it expands out, right? And then we start to begin to envision and connect with people who also are empathetic. And this is kind of the area where, if you're looking for mentorship or counseling, you know, of course I offer it. There's lots of people. You will be guided to the right modality, the right person for you during this Water Grand Trine, because your feelings are going to pick up on what works for you. Okay, so really allow that to be a part of the experience as well. Allow yourself to really be able to choose for yourself in that way. Think outside the matrix. Anything is possible. The universe can't be counted on your fingers or hands or by even the computer, right? Even the technological intelligence can't get it. Right, right. And you know, sometimes I think those brilliant minds, they get the bad rap because that the endless possibilities kind of send them into madness. Because if you're only coming from it from the mental perspective here, it's going to be difficult. But if you can get the emotions involved, you can get the release, right? You are balancing the emotional body with the mental body. And there's some like genius level people who struggle with this, right? With it's like the psychopathy and the madness that they roll into because they're so heavy in the mental energies, right? And this is about balancing the energies, mirroring yourself, seeing your shadow self. And the ravens, yeah, the ravens are excellent messengers. They see both worlds. They see the shadow and the light. They travel back and forth. They inform you. They're a great, wonderful spirit animal to work with as well. Okay, so abundance through empathy. And our last card, emotional, no. Whoop, reset. Home, family, and our roots. Something beautiful is transforming here. Something beautiful with the Ace of Wands is transforming here in our home world, in our home life. We may have a new vision or a new idea about how we want things to look and feel in our home space. Some of you may be redecorating, redesigning, painting a room, moving some furniture, cleaning out a closet. I'll have to share like what my closet looked like. I took a before and after picture when I cleaned out my closet recently and did a lot of purging. And this is that kind of energy where you've done some of that and then the vision comes alive. Now, if you're not quite connected to this fresh energy yet in your home, in your family, in your surroundings, in your roots, you could have to clear out maybe a little bit of ancestral patterning. Like I'm getting like parents, grandparents who hoarded, who maybe didn't make you feel safe or like your space was clean. Some of you may be dealing with some of that, like clearing out. I'm almost seeing like a parent who didn't help you learn how to care for yourself, like brush your teeth correctly and you know, weren't engaged in some of those things. I am getting a little bit of clearing coming out of there. So some of you may be healing some of that during this Water Grand Trine so that you can have a new vision, right? It could also be acknowledging that some of you have really come a long way from some of those ancestral patterns and the roots of what was going on in your ancestry here, right? So yes, it's still a great time to be clearing. And I think right now for some of you, it may be important to clear. And while you're clearing, especially looking at sentimental things, there will be more apt to have the emotional release happen right now. So maybe going through some antiques, some of the things that have been passed down, your family tree kind of stuff, would be a really nice time to help cleanse. Because remember, Jupiter in Cancer is about expansive emotional growth. So we're definitely going to be processing, aren't we? Girl Gone says, I finally took everything out of storage after years of sitting there, so I'm revisiting. Very good. Very good. Give yourself grace during this process. I had to. But I ended up with several big, huge bags and boxes of things. And I was like, oh, and it felt so good. And I definitely felt the shift going through the process and after it was done. You're saying, I actually feel disconnected from myself because I didn't have the things that made me who I was through the things that I finally had to be able to gain to express yourself. I think that makes sense. Yeah. I think I got it. But if you want to expand on that or give like a little example, I didn't have the things that made me who I was through the things that I finally had to gain. Do you mean to like gain to be able to express yourself, right? because that sounds like family work, ancestral work. This connecting in, I do feel a connection in as well to resources, having the right resources. I'm about to sneeze again, I think. Whew. I don't know. Having the right resources. There's definitely some clearing. There's definitely some clearing, because I usually have physical responses when I'm picking up on your all's energy. So I'm wondering, Girl Gone, if you're getting ready to, through this, you're going through the storage and everything, you're really going to be maybe like having a massive release. Whew. It like wanted to come on really strong, but it didn't come out yet. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace there, okay? Jupiter in Cancer. Remember, even as you're going through these things, remembering that this is about emotional expansion. So even though it might feel tight, it might burn, it might feel uncomfortable, it might feel like, oh, I just don't want to do that right now. Keep in mind that this is about emotional expansion. It's there for a reason. You said you feel like you're looking at your things that have been locked away and was seeing myself again, basically. Yes. So I'm wondering if like that 8 of Swords card we were looking at, which I've already shuffled back into the deck because I'm going to get into the next reading. But I wonder if that 8 of Swords might be good to practice with, that kind of the mirror and the ravens that seem to stand out to you, for example. So anyone else feeling that? Like, and you know, how do you feel about seeing yourself again when you're looking into the things? And what are you releasing? What do you find yourself releasing that you couldn't let go of before? That also is very informative. And how do you feel about that, right? Yeah, it's a wonderful exercise. And I'm feeling overwhelmed coming from some of you, like, oh my gosh, like for me to take on that kind of a venture, like really get into things, and that would be like so tough for me. Like, so you just do one box, do one shelf on your closet, do one little junk drawer, do something in your refrigerator, like a shelf in your refrigerator. Start small if you need to, if that feels overwhelming, because I do feel like maybe it could have the potential to go into that overwhelm. Kimberly's working on releasing fear of the future. Well, let's see if we can get you a little bit of assistance with that in Saturn and Pisces. Spiritual discipline and surrender. That fear of the future, I think, is coming from some ancestral stuff, like the tail end of that. That Ace of Wands energy that you desire, it's vision that you want to be in. And I'm definitely sensing like the trapped energy there. That's probably ancestral, Kimberly. Fear of letting something that I may want or need later. Yes. Yes. And what about that voice that says, if you want or need it later, it will find you again? Somehow, some way. What about all the examples in your life personally, Kimberly? Has something found you unexpectedly, you know, in a very unique way, right? So what's the emotion? So you've got the fear. Can you identify, Kimberly, as you're holding something and you're like considering, do I donate this? Do I gift it? What do I do with it? What's the emotion that comes up with it? I love it. I was excited. It was like looking through treasure, my treasure box, which is myself. Wow, I just got emotional. Yeah, that's a little twist on it. That's a little turn on the fear there. And maybe that is helpful to you, Kimberly. Like, this is a treasure box of all of the versions of yourself that have got you to this point now. Oh my goodness. You know, wow, what a treasure you are. Ashley's acknowledging. Yes, we acknowledge the overwhelm. It's there. I feel it. It's overwhelming. Start very small. Even if you're just clearing out, like we have a junk drawer that has like the pens, the pencils, the paper clips, the scissors, okay? Start there if you're feeling overwhelmed. Just something very basic. see how you feel about that. Does it feel good? Do you feel emotional? You know, like you start to look and you have all these pins that you've got as like freebies and tchotchkes from like all these places. And some of them have names of companies on there that you would never work with, you know, throw them away, donate them. If you like, you know, the reuse, recycle. Thrift stores are hugely popular right now. A lot of people, because of all the rising expenses, are absolutely doing that. And as you come across more personal things, is there someone in your life? Now, you'll have to distinguish, do I want my child to have this? Or like if your kids are like my daughter, she's like, I want that, mommy. And she will like tell me, you know, like when you're gone, that's mine, you know, like she lets me know. But, you know, so there's some of those things, and you put them in, like even considering getting like the nicest like container you have and putting the mementos and the special things, your most treasured treasures, right? And putting those in a little box for your kids with like a little note, you know, something like that, right? It can be very overwhelming, but can you take it one at a time? Can you take it one step at a time? I mean, I'll show you guys something. Let's get a little behind the scenes, okay? So here's where I'm at right now. My office is my bedroom. There's my computer there. Look, I mean, I've been going through my kids' homeschool stuff here, okay? Like, I needed to record all that and have proper records for it. I just cleaned out. It's hard to see with the light. Let me go around. Okay, there's my paper shredder. I love shredding. I love shredding so much. Any paper that I don't want anymore, I love shredding. I just cleaned this. There was stuff all over here. Look, I don't even have a nightstand. It's okay. I got my crystals back there, y'all. Got my crystal. There's all kinds of crystals and fun stuff. Look over here. This is like my kids' stuff that they gave me, letters to myself. This is like a little painting that my son did, you know. There's things I'm going to keep here, obviously. But like I had a bunch of stuff, and it was just like power cords and like my printer, my scanner, everything's in there now. But look, here's the box of, here's some pictures that need to go downstairs. Here's a keyboard that nobody's using right now. Here's a box of like from our Halloween decorations that we have out. I got exercise equipment. Look, I mean, but over here, here's the spot, y'all. Here's the spot. Okay, now this is the bane of my current existence, and it's not a very big spot. You might say, oh, that's not too bad. But we've got one of my childhood stuffies. We've got one of Jason's childhood stuffies. I've got stuff for my daughter's upcoming friend's party. I've got papers from Jason and I's deceased parents. Oh my gosh, that's hard to go through. I got my safe, which has stuff in it that needs to go through. Another, I don't even know what's in that. Y'all, I don't even know. So you see, it can be overwhelming, but I give myself grace. I said, you know, I may not get to that today, but I did a darn good job of cleaning out my closet, which I can't open right now because I've got something in front of it for the lighting. But, you know, you could see like we all have our spots. And it takes time. Can you do like one chest at a time, one thing at a time? But there you got the behind the scenes peek. It's not all like I come live and I wish everything was clean and organized around me. And I wish like, I mean, and I burn the Palo Santo and I spray the hydrosol, you know, lavender and everything. And I create a relaxing vibe, but there's still crap I need to deal with, right? And I love myself anyway. I come live anyway. You know, I do keep my tarot tower organized. It's one of the few things that usually is pretty organized. So I'm proud of myself for that. And we just give ourselves grace and we move through it slowly, right? Yes, the emotion is grief and fear. And then within that, so Kimberly, you have some layers going on with this. And maybe Ashley does too, because she mentioned like I'm overwhelmed too. And it's probably because there's different layers of emotions. You mentioned grief, for example, that kind of indicates there's a lot of letting go. And then there's different emotions packed into that. So you're kind of dealing with the big package, right? But let's see, maybe through this Saturn and Pisces and what we've talked about, since some of you are looking at that and visiting that in your lives, in your home space, maybe we can set some healthy boundaries around it where we're not like beating ourselves up or making ourselves feel bad, but we can get more into the energy of treasuring the experience, kind of like what Girl Gone's really going for, and really like delighting and loving some of the things, like that version of you that had that crystal or that trinket or that was important at the time, or the version of you who bought something on Amazon that you wonder why you ever bought because it was not high quality and cheaply made and like you should have returned it, but for some reason at that time she thought she needed it, right? And letting that go, letting that pass on to someone else who might enjoy it. You have all your journals where you wrote about your spiritual experiences. I have those too in a container that I keep. Dreams. You haven't written them in a while, so you're reconnecting. Yeah, some of you may have those journals or things, and that's a beautiful reflection of yourself. I like to save that kind of stuff for my kids one day, because if they so choose, they could get to know their mom better through some of that, right? Some of you may want to go back through it. You may want to pull pages out. You may want to burn, have a little, burn ceremony for yourself, a ritual for yourself. You may want to do something where you make recycled paper or something. You could do something really cool, like repurpose it into art somehow. Just do one little thing at a time. So you feel like you're being told to return to that mindset and release what's going on around you. Okay. That's beautiful. I feel like you're under the guidance of your greater being and you're connected to creation, and that's beautiful. Allowing yourself to be guided. If you're feeling that way, going through storage, you found all the kids' artwork too. Yeah, out of the piles of papers, I also found pictures they drew and things like that I set aside, right? Yeah, universe is directing us. So since we're talking about direction and we're getting here into Saturn and Pisces, we got that Saturn, that's our drill sergeant, okay? That's the one that comes in and says, give me structure, give me discipline, give me the things like that, right? Let's look at our known boundaries. What are our known boundaries? So this is where we have boundaries set up and we're doing pretty good with it. We're feeling pretty good. We got the Page of Cups, okay? Now, I love this card because it's like we have the top half of the page, and then it's like he's looking at connecting with, the lower part of himself or something. And here we have a bowl. There's a pig flying, okay, when pigs fly, and the pig's wings almost look like money. Okay, which is really interesting because we talked about different kinds of abundance. We talked about abundance through empathy. Some of you maybe are having some boundaries around finances, around spending. The page would indicate that maybe you're trying something new. Some of you may be investing, and this is a new feeling. It can make you feel a little like you're in between phases here. When it comes to boundaries, right, it's about being aware of our finances and aware of our resources, but also not going so manically deep into it that we scare ourselves, right, and that we continue down the path of scarcity. And the Page of Cups shows up because this is all about how our emotions are connected to these boundaries. Do you have good boundaries around your resources and finances? First of all, okay, there's one aspect of it that I want to go to resources and finances because that's coming up here, okay, as we're going through things, as we're looking at our good investments, our bad investments from the past, right? Like where we invested. This is about heart space energy. This is about loving what you're doing, loving the process of setting. And setting and maintaining boundaries with this. So, you get a lot of information from mindset coaches and the spiritual folks out there. And like everybody has that advice, right? Of like, respect your money, know your resources, investments. And it can easily get overwhelming. But Saturn would like you to look at this a little bit. But it also wants you to find freedom in it. So it's about finding that balance. You want the spiritual discipline, but also the surrender. And the spiritual discipline, this could be around, I have launched something. This could be like what Teresa's up against. I've launched something, and I'm expecting it to come back with resources, with money, with finances, right? I love this thing, right? But do you have boundaries around the connection to that? Are you able to disconnect from that when you start to feel overwhelmed, or so you do not become overwhelmed in those energies of scarcity, right? Are you aware when your mindset shifts? And the Page of Cups is very much working with that energy. So I get a big sense of boundaries around resources and finances there, okay? Maybe some of you are making big purchases, like a car, a home, something like that. And you're learning how to have boundaries around your spending in other areas right now. Some of you may be re-exploring investments you made, like you're looking at a 401k or something along those lines. And you may be determining how to distribute your resources differently. This could also factor into time, but it's very, very connected to the heart and the emotions. And this can feel, to me, I get that feeling of like, at first it can feel a little upside down. Okay, especially having boundaries with this in life, just like anything, because it seems like our whole life is just moved towards, you got to make money, you got to put money in the bank, you got to buy food, you got to, and it's all right, this nature of the way the world is operating. And then there's the different isms, and oh man, it could just get, Saturn is saying like, let's have some boundaries there. Because since I'm in Pisces, I want you to feel more free flowing. I want you to feel like you can surrender into the truth of who you are. With this being the Page, it's a little new. It's a little tough. All right. So keep practicing, keep at it. Don't give up on yourself. Give yourself grace. Be tenacious here. Okay. Going into some of the unseen boundaries here. I think it has to do with our relationship to time. I really do. We got the Temperance card here, everyone. This is Sagittarius energy. This here, the unseen boundaries absolutely have to do with timing. So this could be the boundaries or even the limitations that you may be setting in your own mind through fear. All right, through fear, through the subconscious energies of like, things are not going to come into balance. What Kimberly was saying, it won't be there when I need it or want it, right? I'm scared to let this go. But the Temperance energy, the Sagittarius energy, the Sagittarius walks around with that, the archer, right? Carrying their bow and their quiver until the very right moment to release that arrow and shoot for the goals there. And so there's a timing aspect here. I think some of you have actually been overlapping into different timelines. I very much felt this way. So those of you that have been feeling like, I just woke up and the day is over, where did this season go? Like, what's going on here? Like, one moment I'm doing this, but like you look back over your day and you did stuff, but you're like, where did it go? I think you're timeline traveling, some of you here with this Temperance card here. So when we're timeline traveling, that can be overwhelming. There are some boundaries needed there. And Saturn is saying, maybe it's time to bring a little of that unseen into the seen so you can work with it a little more deeply. We did get this Major Arcana card here. We got the Major Arcana card, so, and that Sagittarius energy, we're going Scorpio season, then Sagittarius season. So I'm feeling like for some of you, and this particular Grand Water Trine is carrying us into mid-December into the Sagittarius territory. So I think some of you too are going to be having new boundaries come up, ones that are currently unseen. And for that, I'm getting more relationship-wise. So boundaries that you don't know that you have that are going to become recognized when you actually do go through this Sagittarius season. So Why are you hearing that now? It's just as a little bit of a heads up. You can begin reflecting on those energies. Girl Gone says, I stopped manifesting because I thought I was being told I was thinking too big and it just seems impossible. But guess the guy in pig card is telling me don't give up, keep believing and thinking big. Yeah, because it's that when pigs fly energy of like, yeah, that's too much to ask for. You can't have that. And right below is the golden bowl. Some of you that might be coming through relationship speaking, but one of the things I like doing, I'll share this little tactic. It is something that I learned from a coach, and she broke it down into 3 categories. So when you're thinking about your goals and your dreams and your things like that, okay, what is the thing that you could say, of course? So it's like maybe the amount of money where you say, of course. You're talking about, your dreams being like too big. But of course, can you take one step? What's that of course step? Like, of course I can make another video and post it. Maybe that's it for right now, right? Of course I can save $10 away in this high yield savings account, right? So you start with your of course, and you do the low hanging fruit and the little steps. And then you do your stretch, okay? They love to do this in the corporate world too. What's your stretch goal? How are you going to stretch yourself, right? And so this is where Saturn really loves this energy because it comes in, it says, yeah, now you're talking. Now we're going to stretch you. Let's have some discipline here, okay? And so then you say, oh, maybe like if you're a content creator, maybe I make 3 videos and post them all through next week, right? So we go from making 1 small one to 3. That'll be my stretch goal, but it's doable. Maybe I can put away $30 into that savings account, okay? What does that look like? What's the discipline that you could do there, right? And how can you structure that? So you have your, of course, you have your stretch, and then you have what you were getting into, Girl Gone. You have the big, like, blow my mind, universe, blow my mind. And that's what she called this energy, universe, blow my mind, okay? So, of course, I can make $50,000. Stretching it, oh, well, maybe I can make 75,000, right? And I'm just throwing out numbers. Universe, blow my mind, I'm a millionaire, right? That is where we really unleash that energy. And if your universe blow your mind is just $100,000, that's fine too. There's no right or wrong here. You're just incrementally giving yourself permission to navigate into these energies, right? As you let go and you let go some more. And then you find yourself, you're like, I did my, of course. And then, oh, looky, I stretched. And then I can stretch some more. And then that future version, that goal, that universe blow my mind is coming closer and closer and closer, right? And it's not easy. And some days you're going to be like, I give the F up. I don't want to do this anymore. Like too much, you know. You got to ground yourself in. You got to bring yourself back. But since this is coming up in this Water Grand Trine, I think some of us have the opportunity to go into that stretch a little bit and allow ourselves to grace. If we feel a certain way, we're going to process those emotions because it's all part of the bigger picture where we're really opening up into that. All right. So remember, even with like the clearing we talked about, maybe piecemeal it. And then if you get a surge of energy or you get a calling or a feeling like today, I'm going to go paint that room, then you do it. Just act on it, right? But let it kind of flow to you. Let it come. You're going to maybe kick off the flow a little bit, right? With your, of course, goals. Of course I can do that. Of course that'll be my salary this year. Of course I'll negotiate that. But here's what I'm stretching for. And now I'm like getting into that a little bit and like, oh, I've done that. I've already stretched that far. So I can stretch even further and I can start to go into this blow my mind energy, which this is really cool because in this Saturn and Pisces, there's a whole lot of emotional energy. This is, remember, reflecting on how we feel about these things. We have the Page of Cups. We have the Temperance card, more connected to like the fire, the action. And there's something coming up here, spiritual structure. So this is what Kimberly likes. She's like, I like that structure. I'm comfortable in it. We got the King of Cups. Good. This is a good acknowledgement that yes, we have the structure. This is the masculine energy. This is saying the heart is on board here. So in my heart core essence, I am comfortable. I'm feeling good about the structure. Maybe some of you through your clearing processes and your revisiting processes, now you feel the connection to the foundation from which you can move going forward, right? This is all about how you feel in your heart space. And I love that he's wearing red in this picture because it means it's rooted, it's grounded in, and he's sitting, and there's water all around, but he is sitting in the sand on the ground by the ocean. So this is absolutely amazing energy. Lots of awareness, a glowing crown area here, lots of awareness coming in, but all from the heart space. This is also mastery around your emotional processing, which is looking really good to me. So this is part of that spiritual structure that Saturn and Pisces likes. I want structure, but I also want the freedom for my spirit. I want the freedom to dream. And I love that he's closing his eyes. Maybe he's imagining something. What would you imagine? Can you go into this state here? And what's really cool is, like, we talk about the spiritual structure, and the spiritual is the Pisces part, and then we're going into emotional maturity. The emotional is the Pisces part. The structure and the maturity is the Saturn, okay? This is powerful energy to work with, y'all, inside yourselves here. And look what we got. Remember, we had the King, spiritual structure. Emotional maturity is the Queen of Cups, y'all. This is the alignment. This is the masculine and feminine coming together. This is the power couple right here. So we're all ready. And I have felt it in the Cancer, the Jupiter in Cancer. I feel it in the Saturn in Pisces. This is all being amplified by the depth of the Scorpio energies. Because this is it. This is where we come together. He looks very inward. She looks very outward. She's maybe taking more action. He's being more receptive. How interesting, right? This is a harmonizing. This is a marriage of these energies, of the spiritual structure and the emotional maturity, the Pisces and the Saturn. So this is absolutely beautiful energy to be in. Now, what would have been really interesting is if this Temperance card would have been the Knight. We would have had the Page, the Knight, the King, and the Queen coming in all together. But I have a feeling that Sagittarius energy is going to surprise us. That arrow is going to be shot, and it's going to somehow seem like it's coming out of nowhere. And there's going to be these moments of universe blow my mind. So make sure you acknowledge. And we've been talking a lot about emotions, and I think sometimes we default to, it's the way I feel sad, or it's the way I'm grieving in these energies. But what about those good energies? And I think, Girl Gone, you've really brought that into this live today, and I thank you for that. You're very good at bringing in these aspects, and I absolutely so much appreciate you for that. It's this delightful moments, you know, where you're like, yes, that works for me. That felt good, right? So these emotional processing energies are so much about the good feelings as they are about the what you might consider the harder, tougher emotions to go through there. So, Girl Gone, I'm gonna add you as a moderator. So you've been on my channel long enough to know that. If you ever want me to moderate for you, let me know as well. But I have added you. Gurman Sadhu, hello. You don't know anything about this thing I'm doing, but you know you are an Aquarius. Okay, so I haven't talked much about Aquarius energy today, but it kind of goes into what I am doing currently, a collective tarot reading regarding the Grand Water Trine that's happening astrologically for us right now. And I'm talking about Saturn in Pisces energy. Now, Pisces is the dreamer that goes along very nicely with Aquarius energy, because Aquarius likes to feel free to dream. They like freedom. They don't like being told, you know, what to do. They are very humanitarian, so they have very expansive energy. So that's kind of what we're doing, Gurman. We're going through some tarot readings here, and we're on the second of 3, and I'm getting ready to move into the third, which we're going to talk about the personal planets that are in Scorpio right now. So welcome, Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius rising. Kimberly's an Aquarius rising too. Faith, I think is Faith an Aquarius rising? I'll have to, she has a very similar chart to mine. There's like one little difference. We have some Aquarian energy here. Jason's an Aquarius moon energy. We welcome all signs. Yes. Okay, so let's get into this reading for the personal planets in Scorpio. Mercury and Mars will be the first. Mercury's also in retrograde. Y'all, there's so many things going on in this Water Grand Trine energy. We're going to get into integrating the shadow, the emotional rebirth, which comes from death and rebirth cycle of Scorpio, truth expression, all right? Expressing, aligning with and expressing, actually expressing truth as it is for you and your phase in evolution, and then reclaiming the power reclamation. Scorpio will never disappoint to bring us into some of the deeper energies, some of the things we might not even want to look at, because remember, it's about that cycle of death and rebirth. In the northern hemisphere right now, the leaves are falling, they're dying away, but they are feeding the soil. And this is a fertile inner alchemy time for us in this Water Grand Trine. So we are absolutely inviting the water energies in. We're going to stay hydrated. You get a sip of water. Let me know if you're still here, how you're feeling. What might be one of the points today that's really hit home with you? What is one of the actions you might be taking? What is one of the movements you might be doing? Let me know in the chat as I dive into this transformative reading with the personal planets in Scorpio. Okay, for integrating the shadow or into shadow, we got the 4 of Swords. This is the healing card. I love this card. I love this card for integrating shadow because it can be difficult, right? And we've already talked about during this live that we're not going to shy away from some of those shadow energies, right? The heavier energies. But the 4 of Swords also gives us permission to rest ourselves when needed, especially as you're doing shadow work. You might need naps. You might need more sleep. I love in this card how she's kind of getting into more of like the fetal position. And that is a position of protection. That is maybe once where we felt most safe in the womb space. We've got the nest here. It's as if she's in a big eagle's nest. And she is absolutely dealing with matters of the heart. And these are woven throughout her experience. And she is being held and nurtured in this space. This is a space that each of us must create for ourselves, within ourselves. It will require those boundaries we were talking about, right? This is like, oh my gosh, you know, I've balanced my checkbook. I've looked at my finances until I'm blue in the face. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. Let me rest. Let me rejuvenate. Let me listen to some nice music. Let me listen to my white noise machine. Let me listen to some binaural beats or something that really is going to give me permission to just rest. How often do we truly rest our minds, right? Very, very challenging. Girl Gone says, I'm a Taurus rising. Oh, I love that. Love that. My Taurans are like, I have a Taurus moon, so it's like the food magician. They're very good with comforting and food and like blankets and like sensual things. Love it, love it. Capricorn sun, and you got the Virgo moon. So that Virgo moon is very active, right? So the Virgo moon will allow you to challenge yourself because you can really, you can process information. Virgos can process information. And there can be a lot in and a lot out, but in the moon aspect, in the shadow aspect, it would be how to not get stuck in that constant cycle and coming back to the heart. So isn't it interesting? I think our souls kind of pick our blueprint so we can learn certain things. On Schumann's here, on Schumann. So we're going to do the personal readings on those Sunday nights. I think were you at the last one? Be sure to come in. The next one's on November 2nd, but this is collective. But you're asking what's coming toward you in general, and you're here just in time for the personal planets, Mercury, Mars, and Venus. So it's going to feel personal to you in Scorpio, and it's about transformation. Grogan says, I got my own space, my little house, and I feel better away from what's going on outside. Good, 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 good. Okay, so we're talking about integrating the shadow and really giving ourselves permission to rest, okay? So this could be on Schumann, what's coming at you, permission to rest yourself, even being very active sometimes. Now, in Scorpio, when we talk about the personal planets in a rebirth, when we think about emotional rebirth, what's happening is I'm getting the connection back to the Jupiter in Cancer here with the Chariot. So isn't this very interesting? We have a very resting kind of energy in the Four of Swords and a very big momentum, forward moving kind of energy in the Chariot here. What different energies we have. And I think with these personal planets moving through like this, it's going to feel like that. So you may at first, with Mercury kind of coming into the Scorpio first, and it's in retrograde, those thoughts are going to be mind thinking, let me rest. And then Mars is moving in, right? The planet of action and activity, and even a bit more of the masculine, bold kind of forward moving, getting on the offense kind of energy is going to start cycling in there. So this is going to be really interesting because the whole point of this and having these very personal experiences is going to come through for some of you in relationships. Some relationships may feel very calm and restful. Other relationships is like, we got to move this forward. We got to talk about this. We got to get things rolling here. Okay. So there's going to be different dynamics going on all in your same world here with these planets being very personal, as well as the sun. Sun's coming into Scorpio, and we have that, remember we have that black moon Lilith in there too, right? Tressa says, I took a nap yesterday. Thank you. Very good honoring yourself. Honoring yourself, because I know you've had a lot on your mind. I know you've been working on releasing control, and giving yourself permission to take a nap when you have a million things to do is beautiful. And that is really showing the universe that I want to do this, and yes, I want all these things, but I want to work smarter, not harder, and I'm going to rest when I need to, right? And then the universe begins to respond to you, right? And the Chariot's coming in with that rebirth activity. New actions, maybe from some of you, or what I want to say is revised. You're revising your plan a little, right? This might mean, like, let's say you have a course that you'd like to build for people, for example, right? This would be you not necessarily just staying up all day, all night, building a course, putting together all of this without moving forward to tell people that it's there. This could be an energy of creating as you go. Maybe you'll be creating more as you go instead of, right? Thinking I need to do steps 1 through 20 and then I'll let people know what's going on, right? This could have to do with some of you who are going through this transformation with going through things and clearing clutter or clearing out or revisiting sentimental things, right? Don't overwhelm yourself. Take it easy because you're integrating as you go. And there will be the time where it's like, now I'm ready to paint that room. Now I'm ready to drive that to the donation center. Now I'm ready to do that, And maybe there's something new coming in. Maybe when you go to that thrift shop, you drop a lot off but they got such good prices, you do get something you need. Maybe that something you think you need or want right now is going to show up for you. Don't forget about that, how you're constantly manifesting, right? And then we move into truth expression. 7 of Pentacles. I feel like some of you are holding on to or have held on to something that you would like to express. Now, remember, expression can be through words. That's probably the most, consistent kind of thing we think of that comes to the forefront, can be through words. But with this being Pentacles energy and more of the earth kind of energy, this is more grounded. This could be in your expression through movement, expressing how your body needs to move, joining an exercise class of some kind, allowing yourself to be in the presence of others. This is something you've been nurturing, something you've been growing. This could be literally like Jason loves to grow and work with like plant medicine, but also vegetables and all of that stuff, right? This is him expressing himself through his relationship. This is very Taurus energy here because the roots go very deep. And look at all the beautiful things that are going on underneath the soil, right? This can also represent that finally some of those things that have been lodged down in the shadow, down in the darkness, is coming to light. And maybe, just maybe, they aren't as scary or overwhelming as we initially thought. The 7 of Pentacles allows that change. Remember in our oracle reading, experiencing the reality of change. Things are in momentum, things are moving. But it also has been fed by this very fertile terrain, this fertile soil. It has been fed, and the water is moving up and nourishing the plant there. So as far as expression, I think it's going to be a really good time. I don't think there's any reason to force yourself into a certain type of expression, right? It's expressing yourself with movement, singing, voice, communication, writing a poem, journaling, right? All of these things count as part of expression. And it may be the importance of each of you getting a snapshot of yourself now. Could be something that you memorialize through your journal or something like that. It could be just a ritual of release that you do, but however you express, it's going to be a very good time to do that. I would look at I'm also getting the moon cycles. We just passed the new moon. We're waxing to a full moon, right? Which I think is November 5th. How is that? Is that right? Whew. I mean, I just feel like I'm in this. I think it's November 5th. Oh my goodness. I think the full moon's in November 5th. I'll get there. I'll get there with the astrology. I just haven't quite got there yet because I'm so in the energies of this Water Grand Trine and what it has to offer us. Girl Gone would like to express more about gifts and experiences. Yes. I'm taken to the indigenous cultures that use the spoken word through storytelling to pass along their legacy. This might be not about writing it down, but it might be about a potent conversation that you have. Maybe it's sharing something about your gifts. Maybe you are going to make that video or that little short message to share with others, right? I need to release that and connect with the elements in my true self. So release my past and story and reconnecting what I learned. Okay, right. So you get all the chapters of the story, right? And you're kind of bringing that full circle. I think that's a beautiful energy. I feel that very much in this. And it's probably something you've been growing here and there, little by little, right? And so now you're feeling the desire to express that. Here's what's interesting. For power reclamation, what the Scorpio, the personal planets in Scorpio. So this is where I feel like Venus comes in, okay? So maybe the Venus energy is coming in. Some of you may have Venus in Scorpio. This is speaking to you reclaiming your power by facing your emotions. Why? Because we got the 4 of Cups here, and she's already sad. She's already down. She may be a little bit depressed. She does not want to take this fourth cup. She does not want to deal with these emotional energies. Yet Scorpio is saying, in order to reclaim your power, this is a missing aspect. This, whatever is in this cup, this bowl, this golden bowl here, it needs to be accepted and processed and integrated, right? And then, right, we almost have like a rainbow coming in here. And then you'll be able to see where you move next. You're going to be able to see where this carries you. But unless you're willing to face the emotions, you cannot reclaim your power, right? And this also has to do with feeling comfortable when some of these emotions are lodged in the shadow, right? And so we had some challenge with that earlier in the live where someone was saying, oh, I think that's just dark and I don't go there and blah, blah, blah. Well, but where does that energy go? That energy exists. It cannot be created or destroyed. It's already there, right? And with the Four of Cups here, if you're looking to reclaim the power, your inner power, and feel empowered, the Scorpio energies, especially with Venus coming in, and I don't have the exact date when Venus enters the Scorpio third decan, but when it does, that's where it's going to be like, here it is. Be sure you're watching for it. We also have the number 4 here. It's also going to bring you stability. It's going to result in a positive stability. That part of the power you're getting back is a new stabilization. For some of you, I know Karen's not on right now, but that could be her representative of her new home, her connection to her new home, because they've been house hunting and going through that whole process, right? And they found a place, but they're still in the process of it, right? And that can get tiring. And do I want to accept that? Tressa says, yes, 11/5 is the full moon. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to get in. I just saw another astrologer that I like, Pam Gregory, lovely British accent, like listening to her. She's like, she's sitting on her couch and she knows so much. And you're just like, oh, I love like her vibe as well. I saw she put out a video on the full moon, so I'm going to check that out. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on the spiritual communities in YouTube. And once again, I will thank the inspiration. I'll definitely say I'm inspired by these people, by Molly McCord. I love her intuitive astrological connection and things like that. Really, really goes nicely and beautifully with the energy of the tarot. Tarot and astrology go so nicely together. It's like a hand in glove. And I absolutely love that. Drogon has Venus second house Scorpio. Yes. Interesting. Wow. Okay. So that's in your wait. That's Taurus energy, right? Second house. Ooh, no wonder you're going through now. Everything you're doing and going through kind of really makes sense. Isn't it so cool how you can study the astrology, you can get the card readings, you can do all the things, but like your intuition already knows. Like it's inside you, and then you kind of hear the message externally, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense with what you're already doing it on the inside. And you've got the 4 life path. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too with that 4, because you talked about 4. I'm a 5. Does anybody else know their life path number? Maybe that would be a very interesting episode to do readings for the different life path numbers and talk through them. Let me write it down. I'm writing it down. See, I got an idea. Yeah, and I'll just invite all of you once again. I know Ashley was like, I'd like to hear more about the chakras, and I will get to that. I will eventually get to that. I've talked about it, my relationship to it before, and transcending, having that spontaneous experience, but we'll get that again. I love the idea of like life path as well, like the life path numbers and taking a journey through that. The numerology goes along so nicely with that. And these things just fit together and help inform us. Oh my gosh, I've been standing this whole time. It kind of feels good. I've been kind of moving and bopping around here. I can't believe we've been on for 2.5 hours. It does not feel like that at all to me. Kimberly's a 7. All right, so you got that momentum and change that you face as part of your life path. Jason's a 9, so yeah, that's interesting as well. So we got some of the numbers here. already showing up. If you haven't checked out your life path, there's like free things online. You can go life path, you know, number calculator free, and it'll show you, and you can get your life path and then study about that. Very, very cool. So, whew, what a wonderful journey it's been today. I will not be on this Sunday night, but I will be on the 2nd. So November 2nd, the live Q&A. Come get a mini reading. Gosh, I'm filling up quick in there now. It's catching on. So come in early if you want your question answered. Okay, and then the 16th. So the 2nd and the 16th for November. And then next Tuesday will be tarot and tea. And in between, I'll be posting things in the community area here on my YouTube channel. So if you go to like community or post, you'll be able to see like the updates and the things that are coming and what the themes are. I always appreciate interaction there. And I think because it's community, I think you can also post something there. So it's kind of like more like kind of like a Facebook conversation where you can come in and post. You can always just comment. There's some other things you can do. Everything that you need to know about my channel is also in the description. So take a look at that. I will add timestamps after the live. And it's been about like probably one of the most fulfilling Frequency Fridays today. This is episode 41, believe it or not. And I just really enjoyed all of you coming in, and it's been nice to see everyone, familiar faces, some new people coming in, some challenge coming in. And I just think it's such a beautiful way to connect, and I'm so grateful for you all. So be in touch, stay tuned, stay true. Thank you so much. And